Okay, and supposedly we are live. I'm seeing chat comments, which is a good improvement from when I did the last Motley Crew, and we realized we were not going live on the channel about 5 minutes in.
Oh my.
So let's see. I'm just gonna double
Jenny
check.
and Tony are here.
Hello, everybody. We're live. Oh, yay, it worked. Okay, cool. I had a moment that I was like, please don't do that again. Well, hey, friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm really happy to have you guys here. Happy Saturday. I am having a long overdue chat with one of my earliest friends from when I came back to BookTube in 2022-ish. Bookish Chaz. We had a chat on maybe your channel the last time, and I think that was 2 years ago. Which
Yeah.
is wild. So Chaz, welcome. Thank you for being the 40th Motley Crew chat episode on my
Number
channel.
40. Thank you, Tori.
Yeah, so thanks for joining me. How have you been?
I've been really good. It's been a good week, a productive day,
Nice.
and yeah, I feel good. I
Good.
feel good. Yeah.
So I have to ask what you're reading currently as our kind of opener here.
Oh, yes. So I recently, oh, thanks, Tony. I recently oh, lost my train of thought. I recently had made a change on my channel
Yes,
to,
I saw that.
like, quarterly updates and more of
Mhm.
a pile of possibilities. And
Yep,
that has been so freeing to me. I've
I
gotten,
bet.
yeah, it's been great. So I am currently reading The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi.
Oh, okay.
And prior to that, I finished in 2.5 days. I finished Starter Villain by John Scalzi.
Okay, so we've got maybe a new favorite author coming through a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of already knew he was probably going to be a new favorite author because I listened to the audiobooks for the Dispatcher series on
Okay,
Audible, and they were just fantastic. So I already kind of knew he was right up my
gonna be
alley,
there.
and they are great palate cleansers. Like,
Mm,
if you're looking for a quick, easy read that's full of fun, action, some absurdism tossed in there.
mhm.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm about 30% into the Kaiju Preservation Society, and wow, it's just great. And I'm doing it immersively with the audiobook, and Will Wheaton narrates the audiobook.
Ooh, okay.
And he's fantastic. He just brings so much charisma and character to the story. It's good.
That's awesome. That's always a feeling like, I don't know, we read so many books and we get through we try so many new authors, and then having a author that just kind of suddenly jumps out at you and you're like, "Ooh, I really like this one," is such a
Yeah.
good feeling. I love that. Yeah, I have a new one in the mystery thriller genre that I was gonna talk to you
Ooh.
about later, because I know
Yeah.
you're much more into mystery thriller than I am, so I'm gonna pick your brain about that a little bit later.
Oh, please do. I'd love it.
Um, we're here now, T. Gonna say hi to chat quick. Hey, Jenny, how's it
Hey,
going?
Jenny.
What are you guys reading in the chat? Let us know what you've been enjoying or not enjoying lately. Um, hello, hello.
Hey there.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to do like an afternoon chat every once in a while.
It is.
Zen's here. Hey, Zen. Mark's here. Hello. Mona Lisa Reads is here.
Hi, Mona Lisa. Good friend of mine there.
Super gracious to me as a booktube newbie. Love that.
Thank you. He's a great guy. Make sure to check out his channel if you haven't. Yeah.
Speaking of which, everybody, you should go down into the description box and subscribe to Chaz's channel, because Chaz has some awesome content on his channel, and I've been watching his videos for 2 years. And I'm still there and enjoying it. So you guys should check that out. You've done a few deeper dives lately, which I've been enjoying. So I think it's kind of fun when we've been on BookTube this long to kind of see like how everybody shifts and morphs into new things as they find different likes. And I know for me at least, like I was really nervous for a long time about doing opinion videos about anything, because I was like, well, everyone's gonna be like, actually.
Right.
And I mean, you can't get away from that completely, but I've been just having a blast, just being like, I don't care. I'm gonna do opinion videos because I have opinions and I'm having fun with it. So Jenny has 40 books on her May TBR.
Woo! Yeah.
I mean, good for you. I could never.
Commitment issue, she says. Yeah. Hey, yeah, that's awesome, Jenny. Read what you love, and if you're not feeling it one day, you've got 39 other books to
That's
pick from.
right. Hopefully you'll find some new favorites this month.
Yeah.
Contemplative Reader J, thank you. This is something that I always feel really bad about, because I try so hard to remember everyone's name. It's kind of like when you're in a fantasy series and everybody has like their name, and then they have like their title, and then and it kind of refers to them by different names throughout the whole book. And you're like, oh wait, who? BookTube is kind of like that too. So I really appreciate being told if people prefer their real names, and I will do my absolute best to remember.
Yeah.
Zin says, banking on Christopher Rocchio becoming a new favorite, and if he does, I'm claiming all the credit. Zin has been after me to read Sun Eater for like 2 years, and I'm doing it.
Tori, I just started. I saw that. Yeah, I just started Empire of Silence, and it's kind of a slow getting into it for me, but I'm getting the feeling that the hype is real.
Yeah.
From what I've read so far, I'm getting
that's what I've been hearing.
The hype is real. So
I'm finishing a novella. I have like 20 pages of a novella left, and I'm starting this tonight, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, good things come to those who wait, Zin. Poor Zin. He's been waiting a long time. Mark says, loved Locked In by John Scalzi.
Yeah, I was really bad about letting my credits pile up on Audible. So I got that one the other day because nice. I was determined I need to stop doing this. So I canceled my Audible subscription, but I needed to use my credits, right? So I did get Locked In.
Nice.
So eventually I'll read it. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like finding $20 in your pocket, right? You go into Audible and like, oh, I have all these credits I can use.
Yeah.
Jenny says Red Shirts is also fun.
Oh, yes. I've heard that. And that's one of the other audiobooks I used a credit for, because I'm definitely more of a Star Wars fan than Star Trek, but I really enjoy Star Trek as well. And I've heard that it's a great spin-off on the Star Trek type characters. So, yeah.
Slowly going through a Holmesian mystery sci-fi novella. Ooh. The Tea Master and the Detective.
Oh, okay. I need to write that down.
Chaz has been activated.
Yes, I have been activated. I love like Holmesian style. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I literally bought, so I was watching through some of your videos yesterday, and I bought The Tainted Cup immediately after hearing you talk about it. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to read it, and you pushed me over the edge.
Amazing. It is. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, because I kept saying I need more fantasy mystery. Like I want fantasy mystery genre mess up. Yes. And when Tainted Cup first came out, I was just like, oh, it's another fantasy novel. It looks cool, whatever, and moved on. And then I start hearing from people, because I sometimes I don't read the synopsis of things because I'm horrible about that. And people are like, yeah, it's a fantasy mystery. I was like, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm even more interested.
Yeah, and it is just fantastic. And I mean, we can talk more about mysteries too, but if you like Holmesian style mystery and you like Cthulhu mythos, you need to check out the Cthulhu Casebooks series. I can't talk. Okay. By James Lovegrove. And he has such a great way of capturing the voice of Sherlock Holmes that feels authentic to what Conan Doyle created.
Okay.
And it's excellent. The first one is Sherlock Holmes and the Shadwell Shadows, and yeah, it's really good. So
Shadwell. I have to take notes on my phone because I can't find a working pencil.
I had to do that too. I couldn't find anything to write with.
And what was the other? The Tea Master and the Detective.
Yeah,
That sounds
that
amazing.
space opera inspired by Vietnamese culture. Sign me up.
Right?
Totally.
Okay. Mark is on Toothsucker by Caden Love and just about to start The Veil by E.H. Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Physical and ebook, same as last time. No audio. Just finished Sanderson's Legion yesterday. How'd you like that, T? That is actually one of my favorite Sandersons, and almost nobody has read it.
It's on my list to read. I own the bind up that came out of all three, and I just haven't gotten to it yet.
It's a pretty fast read. It's definitely a little bit more on the kind of soft thriller side. But I actually think it's his most, how do I put this? I'm not going to say best mental health representation, but I think it's better than a lot of the other stuff he's written that way, which is ironic because this character is one that doesn't have like an official real world diagnosis. It's something like, but it's not, he never committed to a specific thing, which I think was actually really smart. And I wish he would have done that in certain other books, but we'll just leave that alone.
Yeah, I think I can guess what you're talking about, and we'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
We can talk offline about that if you want.
Absolutely. I will be making an entire video about that. I've been slowly working on a script for it because I have things to say.
Oh, good. I can't wait. I will watch that. I will watch it.
I hope somebody does because I'm going to be really nervous filming it. I think it's hard, because we talk a lot about sometimes our personal, why certain books mean something to us personally, or, bring kind of our personal experience into it. But I think, anything that kind of opens up personal mental health experiences can be really nerve-wracking to put out on the internet.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I went back and forth deciding whether I should make a video about Neil Gaiman, because
yeah.
But I've become known as one of the big fans on BookTube, and I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
It was tough.
I bet.
It was tough. Yeah.
I can't imagine. I mean, that's such a hard spot to be put in, because one of the things that I saw on an article about that, or not an article, but I think someone on BookTube was talking about how, you have these stories that have meant so much to you, and the fact that he's done these horrific things doesn't change the quality of the writing, which almost makes it harder, because the books are still good. They're just, it's really hard to reconcile like those two things. I think that makes it, if it was crappy writing, it'd be like, well, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
but it's hard when it's, something that means so much to you. So yeah, I feel bad for everybody who's having to deal with that right now.
Yeah, totally.
Well, let me grab I actually had I was madly scribbling while I was watching your videos this week.
Oh, okay.
For ideas. And this was something that I don't think we actually talked about when I was on your channel last time, which I feel like we would have. Maybe we did and I just missed it, but I don't think so. I was sleuthing on your website also.
Oh, okay.
And
which needs some updates.
That's okay. What I pulled out from that was, I didn't know that you were also an only child.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which is always interesting to me, because as I'm also an only child, so I'm always like, oh,
okay,
we're in the club.
only children for the win.
Right. Well, and also you talked about, being raised on a farm, and how that really kind of spurred a lot of your early imagination, which is also how I grew up. The latter half of my childhood, I was on a small hobby farm as well.
Wow.
And just like, because I remember like I had a whole collection of sticks that were different kinds of swords, and you know, you had all of the
Oh
special ones.
man, you just brought back a memory to me right there. I had kind of forgotten that I did that, but when you
Yeah.
mentioned, I'm like, oh, I did that, and I totally forgot I did that. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say I would love, like, it's fun to kind of go back on a little nostalgia trip. I'd love to know, like, what were some of your favorite, um, you know, games or stories to make up? Did you have like a specific area of the farm that was kind of your space?
Yeah, I had a few different spaces. So behind my house on the farm, we had a. So when I was really young, the only the only source for our well or what was wind power. We had a windmill
Mm,
at the
mhm,
house, and then
mhm.
eventually my dad and had a pump installed. But
Okay.
so yeah, there was a windmill out behind the house with our well, and then there was a bunch of small hills back there, and
Yeah,
I used to traipse across the hills, imagining I was in some other world wilderness or something like that, master of my domain. And
of course. Yeah.
there was an old broken down brick shop that was next to our house as well, and I would spend hours in there imagining that as my fortress. And
Mhm.
so yeah, so most of it was localized to my house, but there were some times when I would go, walking out on the farm because it was right next to our house pretty much. And
Yeah.
or I would walk to the to the haystacks because that's where we stored our hay. And I would play around there. And um
Yeah.
so yeah, I had some fun moments. There was a fairly vocal owl that we would see at night
Cool.
when we'd be out doing stuff on the farm. I helped my dad a little bit on the farm, and and we would always shout, "Hello, Mr. Owl," and he would hoot back. And so yeah, it was and uh that has actually inspired one of the new projects I'm working on, and
Ooh.
that's really all I can say about that. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So we are getting, I was gonna ask you a little bit later if there were some new writing projects in the works.
yeah, there
That's
definitely are.
exciting.
Two specifically, but I have others, but they're more in the idea stage. But
Sure.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I, am really excited to read Nomad's Crucible.
Oh,
That
cool.
one, like, I was rereading the synopsis yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, this just sounds, like, completely up my alley." I'm really excited to read it.
Yeah, and vice versa. I'm actually I see the Bloodstones back there, and I've been really wanting to read the Bloodstones. It's been on my list. It's just we have our long
I
list. And
totally get it.
but yeah, the Bloodstones really intrigued me. And even though I'm not like a general fan of westerns, I do like certain westerns, like the Dark Tower series incorporated some of that.
Mhm.
And your new book actually intrigues me quite a bit. So
Thank you.
eventually I'm going to get around to your book story.
I say that to myself, like, one of the things, I love the community and I love having so many incredibly talented friends, but one of the problems with that is that you can't ever catch up, and I'm like, "You guys gotta just stop writing for about
Yeah,
10 years, and then
exactly.
I'll catch up, and then you can keep going."
Yeah. Well, the good news for you is I'm a slow writer. I'm not as slow as George, but
Well, that's good. I don't think anyone's as slow as George.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, Patrick Rothfuss is a close
He's
second,
getting
but
there. Yeah.
but yeah, I'm a slow writer. It's about 2 years probably before I'll have another book out. So you've
Yeah.
got time.
I honestly think that's a conversation that, especially in the indie community, that deserves to be had more, just because I think there's kind of an undertone of hustle culture that gets brought into indie so often, and you know, some writers can handle that pressure and they can handle putting out that much, you know, content faster. But I also think there's something that sometimes gets missed with the slow process of really taking your time to form something and be happy with it and, you know, spend your time with it. And I think that we should encourage that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends on the writer. So no judgment here.
Cool. Yeah.
Jay says you can't drop hints like that and leave us hanging. Can you tell us what genre, maybe?
Yeah, it's well, it is definitely fantasy,
Okay.
and it's so the particular story that is inspired by my growing up is actually a novella. So it
Oh,
won't
cool.
take me as long to write, but it's slow going because I'm trying to find the character's voice and things like that. So it's slow going. It's I can tell you the code name. The code name is Dreamer, and
Okay.
that's all I can say.
Okay. I mean, I'm
But
hooked.
yeah,
I'm here.
and
Sold.
all my books are standalones, but they do kind of fit into they connect with each other loosely.
Sure.
So
Okay.
yeah, so this is that novella is kind of a prequel of sorts. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Very cool. A
yeah.
prequel to something that's coming up or prequel to something that you've already written?
Prequel to just my general
Everything.
universe as a
Oh,
whole.
okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, but it's not like the Cosmere where you have to read everything.
Yeah.
Even though people will say you don't have to read everything with the Cosmere, and I guess it depends on the person if you really feel you need to, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure it depends a little bit on what you're looking to get out of it too, because like I'm the type of person where I don't need everything I read to be connected. So I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Mona Lisa says you left her hanging with the Nomad's Crucible.
Yeah, and yeah, she and I have had discussions about that. Yeah, and I
Did you end it
and
on a cliffhanger?
not well, yes and no. That the book has a definitive ending,
Okay.
but there is a what would I call it? There is a coda at the
Okay.
end of the book that is part of the larger universe I'm building. But so I think some of the people, because I've had other people tell me that they think that they would like to see me write more, and I think with those people, it's more in relation to that coda, which isn't necessarily directly part of the Nomad's Crucible world.
Okay.
But she wants me to write a sequel to the Nomad's Crucible actual main
Okay.
story. So, and I told her I don't think it'll happen, but I'll keep it on the table
Yeah.
for
If it's
her. We've known each other 24 years, so I'll keep it on the table as a
that's fair.
possibility.
Yeah. Well, and you never know. If the inspiration ever strikes you, it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, Shad, how's it going?
Hey, Todd, good to see you, man.
Jenny, great question. Yes. And
Ooh.
actually, so I indie authors always do that. We always do this to ourselves where we start more projects than we should. So I have 3 open series right now.
Oh,
Now that I did Cold Silver. Um, and which is gonna be great because Cold Silver, they're short, episodic kind of Western style action adventure, first person narrative. So they're an easy, not an easier, but it's a different brain space than a big epic fantasy like Legends of the Bruhai, which I'm gonna need in between the bigger books. And so getting that one done last year kind of saved my creativity in a rough year. 2024 was kind of
mm.
rough. And now I'm really recharged and ready to head back into Legends of the Bruhai, and I can't wait. But True Blood, which is the sequel to Phased, is definitely on the very near back burner and will probably be attempted in the next year to 2 years. It'll be out.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and that's just a duology. So once True Blood's out, that set of 2 will be done, unless I write a prequel novella that I've been throwing around at some point in the future. But that'll be a closed circuit with those 2 books.
Hmm.
So, And I'm excited to get back to it, to be honest. It's one of those things where, like, going through a lot of personal stuff in 2024, everything kind of got tabled a little bit just because I didn't have the creative brain space to really give the books what they needed. And now I feel so much more clear-headed and excited, and I'm ready to work. I can't wait. So it'll be good.
Yeah.
What do you do, Chaz? Do you ever have those moments where, like, does your creativity really change based on your emotional environment? Do you have moments where you're just like, nope, I gotta put it away and just kind of rest and recharge for a little bit? Or is that something that you find the consistency actually helps you maybe through whatever's going on outside?
Yeah. Yeah, good question. Uh, I do go through periods where my creativity is just not there, at least for the writing part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And from finishing the first draft of Nomad to actually releasing it was 7 years
Wow. Yeah.
because I just, after I finished the first draft, I stepped away for like a year from it just because I was done and I was kind of like, okay, I need to recharge. And then before I knew it, it was a year later. I'm like, well, I probably better look at this again.
Yeah. Yep.
And then going through different revisions and everything like that, it took a long time and it took a lot out of me. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess, yeah, it can depend on my emotional environment and how busy life is.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Mona Lisa likes to say life gets lifey, and it
It's
really
accurate.
does. It really does at times. Yeah.
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 I think it's an important thing to point out, like you just did, that the books, we love them so much. They're such an important part of us as people, and also they do take a lot out of us to write.
Right.
Every book, demands its own whatever cost that is, and we're all too glad to pay it most of the time because we love the story. But it is a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Worth it, but it is a
Oh,
lot.
definitely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just got I haven't even opened it yet. I got the Amazon package with my Cold Silver for Souls proof yesterday.
That's awesome.
And I just set it on my desk and I'm just like, I'm just going to wait for a moment where I just need a little bit of a pick me up in the next few days. And then
Yeah.
I'm going to open the package, and because that's the first physical version of it I will have seen. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
giddy about it. There's no better feeling.
Oh no, yeah, it's such a great feeling to finally hold it in your hands and say, wow, I did this. I mean, not all of it. There's the cover as well, but like
Right.
yeah,
But
I
it's still that collaborative art where you got to work with somebody who, is bringing it visually to life. And
mhm.
yeah, I love that process of getting to work with artists too.
I do
That's very
too.
fun. Yeah.
I do too. Yeah.
So out of everything from like brainstorming to first draft to editing all the way through to publishing, what's kind of some of your what's your favorite part of the writing process, and which one is kind of the one that you find the most challenging?
Mm. My favorite part is actually the brainstorming
Mm.
and um, just being able to come up with some of the ideas and see where they go
Mm-hmm.
and get to know the characters.
Yeah.
Because I'm very much one of those types of people where these are just characters in my head that I'm putting
Mm-hmm.
on the page
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm getting to learn about them, and I love that part of the process. The hardest part for me is organizing the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah, organizing the story. And even, I'll be halfway through writing a book and I'll be writing in one chapter and then I realize, oh, this chapter really should have gone up here about 10 chapters before. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the challenging part for sure.
It is really hard to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with I'm a very chronological writer. A lot of people can, oh, I'm going to write the end and then I'm going to write this part and then I'm going to stick it all together at the end. My brain would not handle that. So I kind of need to sort of go linearly through the story.
Yeah.
Um, Partially because I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any major like, I want to make sure everything flows smoothly.
Yeah.
And I just really admire people that can piecemeal it like that. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely a pantser. I just, I definitely go off the cuff, but I always have a general idea of where I want the story to go.
Yeah.
And then as I go through the story, I'm like, this is going a completely different direction than I kind of thought it would, but I'm okay with that right
Yeah.
now. And
Yep. There's
but
always
yeah,
somebody in the story, one of the characters is like, or we could do this.
right. Yeah.
Like, well, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, this is about Legion. T says, sorry for the slow response, doing real life. Ugh, you're not allowed to do real life stuff, T. Come on now.
Yeah. Real life stuff is so boring.
That's right. I enjoyed Legion more than I expected to, and especially that first story. I started it though and instantly thought, why am I reading this? Yeah, it is very different from everything else he has written.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I like, but
Yeah, definitely.
very quickly started enjoying it due to your recent video that I saw. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
That's cool.
Auntie Book says, just finished I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons.
Oh, yeah, I've heard good things
That
about
Peter
that.
Beagle?
Yeah.
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 That's awesome. Did you enjoy it? I guess you didn't say whether you enjoyed it or not. So I shouldn't say I'm glad until I know if you enjoyed it or not. It's, being a booktuber and trying to market things really helps because in my brain, I'm like, I can't open this until I can film it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had to show that restraint as well.
Yeah, that's a really important, I think people really genuinely enjoy sharing that moment with authors, and it's something that I know a lot of people respond to on all the social media platforms when we have the like, here's me opening my book for the first time. And it's, the community is such a big reason why I've had any measure of success with the books that I've written. And I think sharing that with them is a kind of a special, like, we've all gotten to this moment kind of thing. So it's all right. I'll live. It also, in fairness, is the Amazon proof, which is the one that has the big gray "not for sale" across the front.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that they do it, but I hate it.
So yeah, I'm getting 2 other proofs later this week that won't have that. So I'm also trying to kind of wait and see if maybe I can pull one that isn't that for the first one. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, good, you adored it. Awesome. That's good to hear. Fairy tale satire with excellent writing.
Oh,
Have
cool.
you read Pratchett? That's my first question. If you enjoy fairy tale kind of satire. I'll have to check it out. I read, because Peter S. Beagle is also The Last Unicorn, right?
Right, yeah.
Which I am gonna probably tick a lot of people off by saying was not my favorite. I didn't really like it that much. Super happy for everybody that loves it. That's awesome. But it wasn't my favorite, so I've just never picked anything else up. But that one sounds fun.
Yeah, that one does sound fun. I have not read The Last Unicorn. I remember seeing the movie.
Okay.
Like a long time ago.
Yeah.
But
I still haven't seen the film.
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah, it's fun, but yeah, I've never read the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like in the future a little bit more nervous, I think, going between different mediums for the same story, because I just read Princess Bride.
Oh yeah, nice.
Have you read that?
I have not. It's on my list to read, but I have not read it yet. I mean, I love the movie. Like, I've watched the movie dozens of times, and just yeah.
Same. I won't say anything about it. I will be very interested in your thoughts.
I did watch your video.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did, and I wasn't afraid to get spoilers because, I mean, I know it's probably more or less mostly the same story.
It is, yeah.
So I wasn't worried about spoilers. So I did watch your review, and it did make me want to read it more. So I do want to read it. Yeah.
This is why I always tell new authors get so nervous about anything less than a 4 or 5-star rating. And I'm like, you guys, trust me, like people saying what they didn't like about your book can
Yeah.
just as easily make somebody want to read it as saying what you
Yes,
love it about it.
absolutely.
So I'm
Yeah.
glad. I will be interested in your thoughts when you get to it.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe with my new Pile of Possibilities project, it will go on there sooner.
Yeah, I was really I've noticed a few people have started going to more that kind of relaxed kind of TBR slash wrap up system, and um, I think that's awesome that everybody's kind of relaxing away from, oh, I have to do it this way, and just do what
Mhm.
works for you. Because I mean, you said already that you feel a lot more
Oh,
about
I
it.
do.
Yeah.
It's been so good. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of your like I have priority reads for the
Mhm.
year, like where I pick like 25 books I want to read in 2025 or whatever. Do you have a list of books that you'd really like to get to this year that are kind of high up on the TBR?
Yeah, definitely. I sure do. Sun Eater was one of them.
Mhm.
Um, Elric, which I did start the first volume of the Elric,
Yeah.
the new omnibus collections. I did start the first volume of Elric as well.
Okay.
So that's been on my list to get to this year. I have a general list of my next 10 series that I want to start, but that
Mhm.
may not happen this year.
Sure.
It's just kind of generally series that I want to start. Um, I definitely want to start the Wars of Light and Shadow by Danny
Mhm.
Wirtz. Um, I'm hoping to finish The Expanse this year. I have 3 books left,
Okay. Yeah,
plus
you're very
plus
close.
the short story collection.
Okay.
So 4 books technically, but yeah, I'm hoping to finish The Expanse for sure. And um, a Drop of Corruption was a priority read for me, and
Mhm.
I got that on day one. That was a priority read.
Nice.
Um, The Secret of Secrets by Dan Brown comes out in September,
Okay.
and that's a priority read for me as well.
Awesome.
And Empire of the Dawn by Jay Kristoff is also a priority read for me.
So you've got a lot of big ones coming out this
I
year.
do, yeah. And I think January is when we're getting the next Dresden book.
Ooh. Okay.
So it's at the editor and everything like that, and he's made a soft announcement of January sometime. So
Okay.
yeah, so those are definitely some of my priorities because those are my just some of my absolute favorite series that I want to read
Right.
everything from those authors. But
Yeah.
yeah, other than that, I'm trying to keep it a little bit loose, but I have ideas of series that I really want to complete.
Yeah.
Um, I'd like to complete the Spokane Clock Tower Mysteries by Patricia Meredith. I
Mhm.
read the first 2 books, so I want to finish that trilogy. And she is just absolutely brilliant.
She's so good.
Yeah. And I want to read Andrew too at some point.
Yeah.
But I hate to say that he's less on my priority list, but he kind of is. Like, I want to read him, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's, if you have a certain wheelhouse of this is what you typically enjoy, and that, you read a synopsis or hear stuff about a series that isn't, yeah, I mean, I have series like that too where yeah, I might read them at some point, but I'm not like jumping out of my seat to go get it either.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, Patricia is very, very good. And I think one of the things that I really like about her, and as we get into mystery, we'll delve into this too
Yeah.
more. Um, as I've been kind of dipping my toes into murder mystery and thriller, which was kind of my chosen genre to try more of this year.
Yeah.
Really been enjoying that. And I'm also it's I talked about this a little bit in my video about like why you should read things outside your typical genres.
Hmm.
Um, it's been so fun to be part of a genre and be a newbie in a genre again. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. It's so good. Um, and one of the things that I'm noticing that I really enjoy because I'm such a character nerd is the plot of thrillers isn't usually what pulls me in. Like, I like to have an intricate plot line of what happened and, you know, why and whatever. But I really like Patricia does this really well, where like the murder mystery is kind of the undertone, and there's a whole bunch of character work on top of it. And it's almost a character exploration first and a murder mystery second. And I love that. I love it so much. And I think that's a great, for me at least, it's a great blend of, you know, what I typically read in any genre and then mystery thriller.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've read all 3 Spokane books, and I've also read her Anna Catherine Green Deed of Dreadful Note. And I've read one of her 2 Christmas mystery ones, which are adorable.
Yeah, oh, they are. Yeah, I also have only read the first Sam Shovel novel, and I'm almost done with Spokane Clock Tower. The Anna Catherine Green one is on my list, and I also want to get the Leavenworth case, which she talks about. Yes. I want to read that one by Anna Catherine Green.
Yep.
And yeah, when I finished Butcher Baker Candlestick Taker, I noticed that around that time she had a sale, and I'm like, I am buying all of her books because she is just that good.
Yeah, she's very good.
I have not been disappointed that I did that.
I love her the way she writes character relationships too. They feel so real and deep and really engaging. And I love when you have conversations between characters that you feel like very slightly like you're intruding.
Yeah, right.
You know, and she's brilliant at that kind of feeling where you're like, oh, I love this. And I, you know, am I intruding? And it's, yeah, she does such a great job with different types of tension. I feel like in the very limited mystery thriller experience I've had this year, sometimes it feels like the tension is all one level. And I like having a little bit of like different layers of tension, that it's not just, oh, the murder and who did it, and like it's one solid race to the end kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm slowly finding my footing in the genre and figuring out what I like. So
good. Oh, that's awesome.
There are a couple comments I wanted to grab that I'm behind on the chat here. Pratchett is a master of satire. He is fantastic.
He definitely does well with the satire. Yeah.
Only read one. Color of Magic, I'm assuming, is that one. Yeah, which if you enjoyed at all the first one, you will probably enjoy the rest of them even more, because I've heard most people say that's one of the weaker ones.
Yeah, that was the first one I read as well, and I did not really like it that much. It was okay. There were a few funny moments, but I'm like, really? Is it really that good? And then I watched Alan's video, like on where to start, different places to start with Discworld, and then I went and started with, well, actually I read The Hogfather at Christmas time first. Okay. And then I eventually started with the City Watch, and I was really happy with the City Watch. So yeah.
I have been counting down the days. I usually do my updated top 10 series list in June, and I've been counting down the days for this. Yeah, because I'm like, I can't wait to put Pratchett on this list. I can't wait. Still need to watch and read Princess Bride. Super love the movie. Think my book expectations are set appropriately. Really appreciate. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad. I think, yeah, my concern is that people go into the book thinking, oh, it's going to be like, the experience is going to be exactly the same as the movie. Not that the story isn't very similar. There are some differences, but Goldman definitely decided to go a little bit more meta brain with it, and that's going to work for some people. I'm not it.
The whole meta thing can be really hit or miss. It really can. Have you read The Dark Tower?
I So I'm gonna hurt your feelings and say that I DNF'd Gunslinger.
Hey, that's totally understandable. That is my least favorite Dark Tower book. It
Okay.
really is. I mean, I think I would like it better on a reread now that I've
Read the
finished
whole
the
thing.
series
Yeah.
because, and there's specific reasons why I think it leads into a reread of The Gunslinger, but I won't say anything just in case you decide to pick up the rest of the series, but it does get way better.
Yeah.
That's the weakest book in the series, I think.
Yeah.
But oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
good. Well,
Go ahead.
oh, no, I was just gonna say there is a fair amount of meta stuff later in the series.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But anyway, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I actually really loved the first couple pages, the opening of Gunslinger. Atmospherically, I think it was really intriguing and like bleak, and I was like, ooh, what is this? Like, this is a really good, I really liked that a lot. As soon as we get to town and things start happening, I was like, I'm gonna show myself out. Thank you.
Yeah. There was a bit much of things in that book. Yeah.
That's my quote for that's gonna be my quote for Gunslinger. Why did you DNF it? Well, there was a bit much of things in it. Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
Jay says, every time I officiate a wedding as a pastor, I have to refrain from saying marriage.
Oh, I know.
Oh, what's your kid? Remind me what your kitty's name.
She decided to join us. Yeah, that's great, Jay. I love that.
That's amazing.
Knowledge.
That would be like, I have a hard time not saying it in general. I can't imagine as a pastor how hard that would be to tune that out.
Wow. True love.
True love. So brings us together. Iconic. I agree, Jenny. As if you have the right bride and groom, it would make everybody laugh and then start the official thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the wrong notes. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. You'll just have to say the booktube people put you up to it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting because I know Dresden is a big favorite of yours. And I had kind of avoided it because this is always interesting to me and how people talk about series on booktube, and I want to flesh that out and do a video on it at some point, because I think people either like way overhype things or they focus on one singular aspect of the series and that's it. And I think both of those things make it really hard as a reader to know, like, you know, what the actual experience is going to be like. And for Dresden, I've kind of steered clear of it because a lot of people really heavily focused on the instances of male gaze in the series, which is like the biggest thing I hear talked about with Dresden. And so I just kind of put it out of my head. I wasn't going to read it, whatever. And then a close friend of mine and I were talking about it the other day, and she started talking about the characters and the sidekicks and the cool creatures that Harry finds and becomes friends with. And I was like, how is it that in like 3 years of booktube, I've never heard any of what you're telling me, and this all makes me want to read it? You know, and like it was this kind of weird. So I actually bought Stormfront, the ebook of Stormfront, because I was like, okay, I know that I'm going to have an issue with some aspects of this.
Sure.
And I'm going to be honest about it when I read it. However, I also think some of the other aspects of the story, I've never heard people talk about how cool some of these creatures are and the character work, and like, why not? Maybe I've just been watching the wrong videos, but I wanted to share that with you because I know you're a big Dresden fan.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you shared it with me, and I'm glad you're taking a second look at it because I won't deny that the male gaze is there. It is there, but and not that this excuses it at all, but initially starting out when Jim started writing the Dresden Files, trying to find his niche, Dresden initially got kind of lumped in with the popular urban fantasy tales that, they have a lot of sex in them and different things like that. And but as the series goes along, it's not that it completely vanishes.
More self-aware, though, maybe.
He's more self-aware.
Yeah.
He is lovingly chastised by female characters in the story for the way he approaches women.
Yeah.
He learns and grows and becomes this very
That's the
self-aware
difference.
person,
Yeah.
and that is the difference. So
Yeah.
a lot of people are put off by the male gaze, and I totally understand, but it lessens,
Yeah.
and Harry grows so much throughout the series.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, if you can make it through the first 3 books,
Yeah.
you are going to see such a change in Harry's character and
Yeah.
direction and maturity.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a little bit of that, old school, the man's got to protect the woman
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, he's always going to have some elements of that.
Yeah.
But it becomes more focused on the charming parts of Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to those points at if they pop up in later books, and you're like, okay, Harry,
Yeah.
Whereas in the earlier books, it is a little heavy-handed, but don't let it deter you. That's all I'll say, because it is. I mean, there's some fantastic creatures in the story. There's some fantastic magic and action moments, and just some fantastic hero moments.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want anybody to miss out on that unless they just absolutely hate the books, and that's fine. It's not for everybody, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited. That was the first time that well, Casey's actually here. Hold on. Yep, there she is. Because she's read, I think, like a good chunk of the series. I can never remember which book she stopped at, but yeah, I mean, that conversation was the first time I was like, I'm actually kind of excited to read this now. Like before, I was just like, oh, it's Dresden, I should probably read this at some point. And then I heard more about it, and I was like, I don't know if it's going to be for me. And now all of a sudden, I find myself being really excited to read it. And I'm like, okay, well, that definitely changes. And I think, like you pointed out, I think sometimes as modern readers who tend to be a little bit more aware of a lot of the issues that we're constantly talking about on BookTube and just in general, I think sometimes we want the characters to be that self-aware from day one. And if they're not, it's not a good character.
Right.
And I think, like you said, I'm here for a character arc.
Yes.
Right. I want a character that grows, that goes somewhere, that isn't just static through the entire story. And I'd rather have that than a character who's just a cardboard cutout for moral grandstanding or so I am looking forward to reading it. I think it's going to be a good switch up from a lot of the, epic ancient fantasy that I read a lot of.
Oh, definitely. And they're great palate cleansers, and they're quick reads.
Yeah.
I read the entire series, including both of the short story books.
Okay.
There's a few short stories that are not included in books that I haven't read yet.
Okay.
But and he's got some like really short stories on his website that are part of the universe. Sure. But yeah, I've read all the books so far, and it's definitely a lot of character growth. And if you like audiobooks, Tori, do it an immersive read. James Marsters is perfection for Harry. Nice. Like it's just, I can't. If I were to pick up the book and read it without the audiobook, I would still hear James Marsters' voice. That's just it's quintessential. And and if I had a preference, because there have been talks about new adaptations of the books. If I were to pick one, I would say that the guys who created Castlevania and Devil May Cry on Netflix, if they did an animated version of the Dresden Files
Yeah.
and gave us James Marsters to do the voice, I'm
You'd be
sold.
happy.
I would be so happy. And to me that would make more sense because
Yeah.
Harry doesn't age like normal people do.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be hard to pull off in a live action thing, I think.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, I'm going on a rabbit
No,
trail.
I love it. I love it. I wanted to bring that up specifically because I knew you were such a big fan of Dresden. So I was, no, I can totally, not having read the books, I can see that being a really cool medium for a story like that, especially with all the creatures.
Yeah.
I think as far away from modern day digital CGI as we can possibly get would be great.
Yeah.
Like actual like art style animation would be way cooler.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Mm-hmm.
T has left us for a 50% off sale. This must be the real life thing he was talking about earlier. Hey, can't blame you.
Yeah, I can't blame you at all.
Have
Can't
fun.
go wrong with a 50% off sale.
Show myself out is the classiest way to say it. Thank you. I'll have to remember
that. Yeah, that is good. Yeah, that is.
I'm just gonna show myself out. Sylvia's here. Hey, Sylvia.
Hey.
Yes, Sylvia's another Dresden Files person.
Oh, very cool.
You guys are gonna make me read Dresden Files. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
This is a great point. Jay says, I viewed Dresden's issues as being true to the character as a 1990s single urban detective and not reflect. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I think that's an important distinction to make too when you're considering what series to read and how to, approach content that might be questionable for you as a reader, which is completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's, sometimes people try to lump all that into one too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Zin says, Bob is my spirit animal. I don't know who Bob is.
Oh, Bob. I love it. And I'm not gonna spoil it, but I will just say, yes, Bob is magnificent. And I mean, okay, if you take, I will say, Harry with the male gaze and being a little pervy in the beginning, take Bob, take him and double it. You've got Bob. So just be aware. But Bob is Bob is a great character, and I won't spoil who Bob is. I'm just going to leave it there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shot very quickly to the top of my TBR recently, so I'm looking forward to trying it and seeing what I think. That there's so many good series out there. It's so hard to keep up, especially when they're longer ones like that. I mean, both Pratchett and Butcher write shorter fiction, which helps, but they're so long. I mean, there's 41 Discworld books, or I think, and Dresden's at what, 13, 14 now?
17 books if you don't count the short story books, or maybe it's, I think it's 17 without the short story books. Yeah.
So I'm 3 books behind already.
Yeah.
Hey, John, welcome.
He plans to end the series at 25 books, from my understanding.
Okay. Hey.
He's got like a major end of the world 3-book arc at the end, from what I understand.
Ooh, that's cool.
That's included in that 25 books. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
It would. It really would. Yeah.
I can totally see that.
Amazing animation would be awesome.
Imagine. Sometimes, yeah. I think it really depends on the nearness to the situation and like what content specifically might be hard for you individually as a reader. I think it really depends on the individual reader.
Yeah. So, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I agree. Sylvia says, I love Bob. I'd read a 20-book series about Bob and his story.
Oh, me too. Yeah. Yeah. Give me some Bob spin-offs. That would be awesome.
Bob is certainly a character.
The Bob Files or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I will hear no slander against the Queen of Air and Darkness.
I know. I love her character. Yes. Yes.
Man, you guys are giving me some serious FOMO here.
Oh, just wait. Yeah. There's some serious stuff that starts happening as you get further in the series.
I bet. Yeah. Well, I think what really sold me on it was just I mean, Casey knows that I'm a character nerd, and she really knew how to sell the characters of Dresden, and now I'm like, I want to meet these characters.
Right? Yeah.
So the other thing that I had mentioned, right, like I gave Chaz like 10 minutes notice, I think, before we went live, about talking about some covers potentially that we like.
Mhm.
And if we have time, we can maybe do a few first line or first paragraph things too. I pulled a few books.
Mhm.
So you had done a video recently about judging or just kind of like discussing first paragraphs of some books on your shelves,
Mhm.
which I love stuff like that. I think those are so much fun. And it's a
I
good
do
way to
too.
kind of like taste test your TBR a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly.
see, ooh, this one I really like, I want to read that one sooner rather than later. So do you want to start with covers first, or do you want to start with
I'm
lines,
good with
paragraphs?
either,
Okay.
honestly. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll defer to you on that.
So I pulled 4 books for covers that I really
Okay.
love, and I'm trying to pull ones that I haven't talked a ton about before on the
Mhm.
channel. Although I'll probably end up grabbing one of my favorite ones anyway, because I have talked about it a million times. But um, sorry, I have too many books. um, Okay, so what I thought we would do is just show one of our favorite covers from our shelves and then just talk about how we feel about it and what we like about it.
Okay, sounds
Chaz,
good.
would you like to start us off?
Sure. Yeah. So I talked about this a few times on my channel, and I talked a few people into reading it and stuff. So this is Meddling Kids by Edgar
Ooh.
Quintero. And the thing I love about it is it says so much about the story without saying too much.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've got the tentacles, which like instantly tells me Lovecraft or some type
Yep.
of Lovecraftian element. You got the Scooby Doo ish gang
Mm-hmm.
right there. And the title alone says it, right? Meddling
Right.
Kids, it instant Scooby Doo vibes. And I grew up with Scooby Doo. I love Scooby Doo, and this was recommended to me by a bookseller at Barnes and Noble. And
Okay.
she says, "Oh, you like Lovecraft?" She overheard me talking about Lovecraft, and she's like, "Oh, hey, you like Lovecraft? Come here, I've got the book for you." And it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Um,
I also like the framed, like it.
yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of very interesting things going on with the cover all at once.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It was just a fantastic read, and there's definitely Lovecraftian horrors in there, and so it's so much fun. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I highly recommend this one. But yeah, this is one of my favorite covers.
Yeah.
Like I could never get rid of this and just have the ebook. I don't think I have the ebook, but I could never get rid of
Yeah.
this.
I also love the font choice, honestly. Like,
Yeah, it's great,
it's
isn't it?
fantastic. It evokes a lot of that kind of era's nostalgia, like the Scooby-Doo Cartoon Network era nostalgia.
Yeah,
Yeah, love it.
definitely.
Um, really quickly,
Yeah.
some Casey and Zin were talking about. See, this is something I need in my life because
Yeah.
there's a lot of Fae done incorrectly right now
Hmm.
in fantasy, and I am really looking forward to that. Okay, one of my first ones is I'm trying to remember if these are the UK version. Yes. So this is the UK hardcover edition of Sebastian de Castell's Spellslinger series.
Oh, I love that cover.
Isn't that
Yeah.
amazing? So you've
Yeah.
got, and there's so much again like going on here that, and I love like I love cards and this
I do
like
too.
the Weird West vibes that you're getting immediately from it.
Yeah.
This character is almost like a Gambit style
I love
character.
Gambit.
So do I.
Gambit is my favorite Marvel character, hands
That's
down. Like,
totally fair.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I love that. Yeah, Gambit. I mean, Gambit. We could talk about Gambit for an hour.
yeah, right. Oh, yeah, totally.
But like it tells you so many things about it. Like you already have an animal companion, you've got magic, you've got like this kind of gunslingers, Weird West kind of vibe from it, and even the back.
Oh, that's
Like I love these covers so
yeah,
much. And there's like 8 or 9 of them, and like they all have, I only have the first 2 right now, and I've only read the first one.
Yeah.
But I
I
love
I
that cover.
I shudder to think what the US editions are like. Because I doubt they're nearly as good as those are. Yeah. Oh wow.
They're not. I intentionally went out and found these because I was like, I really love, like, the book is really good. It's really
Mhm.
good. But the cover, it's worth. I very rarely will keep a cover of a book that I'm not like, or that I wouldn't keep a book just because of the cover. I
Mhm.
would, even if this book was not good, which it is
Mhm.
good, but I love these covers.
Yeah,
Um,
those are beautiful. I have not read any Castell yet, but I've been hearing things about that series, and
I
everybody says read the Great Coat series, and
yeah, yeah.
maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I tried book 1 a few years ago, and I think it was just one of those books where I wasn't in the right space for it.
Mm.
But I do wanna go back and try it again, and I enjoyed Spellslinger. That's the only one of his that I've read so far.
Mhm.
But yeah, Sylvia, we are here to destroy your TBR.
I hope you love meddling kids, Sylvia. I really
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
I also love, like, kudos to that Barnes& and Noble rep who actually, like, listens and I love bookstore people that really know their
Mhm.
stuff and can give you good recommendations. That's amazing. I love that.
Mhm. I do too. That's
Capricious
something you just
Fox.
don't get with Amazon, right?
No, absolutely not. Rogue is my favorite Marvel character, but I like her and Gambit's relationship. Rogue is
I
also
love
a
their
weird choice.
relationship too. Rogue's a great character.
She
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right, what's your next one?
Okay, so
I'm just gonna kick my
my
door shut real quick.
oh sure, yeah.
Sorry, I'm back.
No, you're good. So my next one is The Animal by Chad Nicholas. I don't know if you've
Ooh,
heard of
oh,
Chad
those
Nicholas.
minimalistic covers. Ugh.
Yeah, I love the minimalistic covers. And the thing I love about this though is not just the front cover, but the naked hardcover is the inverse.
Ooh.
Well, I'm not holding it right there. There we go. Trying to
Trying
get
to
it
figure out
framed right.
mirrored
Yeah,
video.
and it's
That's
just
gorgeous. Ooh, I
yeah,
like the back too.
and it's a slasher novel,
Okay.
and it's just absolutely brilliant. I Chad has 3 books out right now, and I love every one of his books.
Hmm.
And he's a self-published author, but he spends, I'm sure, good money
Yeah.
to get all of his covers designed in this fashion.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a brilliant book, and it's a beautiful cover. Miblart, I think,
Oh, yep.
is the designer for this. Yeah,
Okay. They do a lot of really good covers.
yeah, they do. Yeah. So yeah, that's my next one.
I love minimalistic covers like that.
I
I
do
love
too.
when it really, especially with silhouettes. I love silhouettes
Yeah, they're great. I love them
so
too.
much. Mine actually is kind of sort of in that same vein. And it's not a wraparound cover, but that's okay. So Six of Crows,
I love that cover.
because if you look at the in between of the crow feathers, it's a
Hmm.
city. And
Yeah,
I didn't realize that until I'd owned this book for a little while. And I was looking at the cover a little bit closer, and I was like, oh my gosh, that subtlety in the design is just so cool. It's so cool. And I was able to get one of the like limited special editions, so it's got the sprayed edges and stuff with it too.
right.
Um, but again, it's very simple. It's a silhouette. I love the grayscale with the red, and the city detail is just so cool. So
Yes, it is. Yeah, I love the cover for Crooked Kingdom too.
yes,
It's also really really nice.
that one. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's very cool.
Such a gorgeous set.
It
Yeah.
is. I got them. That was another library sale find, that they didn't even have library stickers in them or anything, and I was like, "Oh, I'll take those, thank you."
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's also one of my favorite. I really hesitate calling it a YA.
I do
Um,
too.
it's
It's
pretty
right on the
heavy.
border.
Yeah,
It's right on the border of adult and YA. Yeah,
yeah, but it's very good.
yeah.
Okay. I could have pulled so many covers.
Oh, I could have too. I did have one more,
Go for it.
and that is the Tainted Cup.
Yes.
And there are other covers. This is one of the cases where I like the U.S. cover way better than the UK. And there's just so much about it. It just, it's such a beautiful cover. And I got this. I met Robert Jackson Bennett at Phoenix Fan Fusion and got it signed.
Oh, cool.
And it was the first one I'd ever read by him, and I knew he was going to be there. And I'm like, okay, I'll try one of his books. So I bought this there and had him sign it, and I was just blown away by how good it was. So this is just an absolutely gorgeous cover. And
I love the vines on the spine. That is so cool.
I do too. Yes, yeah, the vines and the cover just is. It speaks so deeply to what's actually in the book too. Like you know, when you start reading the book, you're like, oh, okay, I can see why they did this on the, you know, you can see why it was designed the way it was, and especially the imprint on the center. You'll be able to say, oh, now I know why that's there. And so he's very intentional with cluing in the cover or tying it into the story. So
yeah, it's beautiful. I bought the paperback edition on Pango, partially just because I have a harder time reading hardcovers with my hands.
Sure, I get that. Yeah, me too.
There's so much. The hardcovers are so pretty.
They are.
I'm like, I can't afford to buy a hardcover to look at and have the paperback to read.
I get that. The paperback is still good. You know, you still get
it's same design.
Yeah, same design. So I'm the same way. I have a hard time holding hardcovers, especially if they're really big ones. I have to have something to prop it on, or else I can't hold it. But
Sylvia says the Tainted Cup is as beautiful on the outside as it's interesting on the inside. Delightfully uncanny.
Oh yeah, I like that. Delightfully uncanny. That is a great way to describe that book. It really is. Yeah.
I'm so glad I bought a copy of it.
I am too.
It had been on my radar, kind of in the back of my peripheral vision a little bit, and then when I was hearing you talk about it yesterday, I was like, okay, I can't not buy this book now.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I'm trying to decide for my last one if I should do a typography cover I really like or an illustration cover I really like. Let's do the illustration. Okay, so this is a YA that I bought off of Book Outlet years ago when I first started BookTube. I still haven't read it, which is, I need to read it. But the cover is like, I love the font.
Yes.
And what's really cool is the hill she's standing on is a wolf's head.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, that gives me Miyazaki vibes.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Right? And I'm a huge fan of Studio Ghibli.
Same.
And yeah, that gives me definite Miyazaki vibes.
Very Nausicaa, Mononoke kind of angle. Yep. So yeah, I absolutely love how beautiful this cover is. And the second one is really cool because it has a wolf's head like diving like an eagle would be from the sky, with the human character kind of tucked underneath. Beautiful set. And I think I've been afraid to read it because I'm afraid that I won't love the book as much as I love the cover. But I saw that cover on Book Outlet a couple years ago and was like, that's beautiful. I need it. So I don't do cover buys super often, but every great once in a while there's one that strikes my fancy.
Yeah.
Daniel says, hello. Welcome, Daniel.
Nice to see you, Daniel.
A wizard is never late.
Right? He arrives precisely when he means to.
That's right. Okay, so do you want to do a couple first lines and chat about them?
Yeah, absolutely.
I pulled 4 different ones that I can pick from. So perfect. You want to start us off? Do you want to do a line or a paragraph?
Maybe we can change it up because there's a couple here that it's mainly the first line and a couple that are paragraphs. So maybe we'll
Yeah.
Maybe we'll mix and match there.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I guess you want me to start?
Go right ahead.
Okay. So the first one that I picked from is an old classic for me, and it's from Game of Thrones.
Nice.
I love the first opening for this, and so I guess just read it.
I haven't read that book in probably a decade, so I can't wait because I can't remember what the
Okay.
opening is.
So yeah, this is the opening paragraph for Bran.
Oh
And
yeah.
it says, the morning had dawned clear and cold, with a crispness that hinted at the end of summer. They set forth at daybreak to see a man beheaded, 20 in all, and Bran rode among them, nervous with excitement. This was the first time he had been deemed old enough to go with his lord father and his brothers to see the king's justice done. It was the 9th year of summer and the 7th of Bran's life. One of my favorite openings to a book.
You know, it was really funny when I wrote, I had gotten somebody commenting on that actually when they read Bloodstones, because I open with an execution in Bloodstones. And somebody right away was like, oh, it must have been. And I was like, dude, I don't even remember Game of Thrones. But I think why we're drawn to that, or why it's so impactful, is like, there's such a juxtaposition of us as an adult reader recognizing the horror of what's happening, and Bran's innocence of the excitement. He's excited, right?
Mhm.
To go, and we know that that innocence is very quickly just about to be broken, because when he actually sees it, the excitement's going to give way to something else.
Mhm.
You know, and it's such a like a little boy in a man's world kind of feel, and that
It is.
elicits a lot of strong emotions, I think, in readers for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And it really just it really just makes you want to find out, okay, why is this person being beheaded?
Mhm.
And then you get to find out why they're being beheaded, and
Which opens a whole new can of worms.
it does. It builds the story so well. Yeah.
It really does. Yeah, and it's a very intimate opening for a vast world, which I always really like. Because whenever you have one of these series that's just huge, I mean, there's so much there, and there's so many people we meet, and conflicts and layers, that I think giving us a moment to just start with this intimate view of a father and son, and this kind of, I mean, there's a lot of loss of innocence in the series as a whole, so I think it's a good foundational starting point too for that.
Right.
Jay says that is simultaneously gorgeous and disturbing from Game of Thrones. I had forgotten about that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, guys, spoilers for the first paragraph of any of these books that we're
Yeah,
reading.
true.
You really don't want to be spoiled, but like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
hello.
you can hit the mute button.
Yeah, right. Okay. So this is one that I have not read yet.
Oh, nice.
But it's a Pratchett book. So, this is the opening of Going Postal, which is
Ah.
one of the books I'm most excited to get to outside of the City Watch.
Mhm.
So this is like the first couple of paragraphs. Daniel knows my taste very well. I didn't like The Court of Broken Knives, so good call. Yeah, the very stylistic, interesting stylistic choices, very bold stylistic choices as a writer, which I have to give her a lot of credit for.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I have not read that series either.
I read the first book. My Kayla from Kay's Hidden Shelf was like her top series of the year
I
last year.
know. I remember her saying that.
So don't
Yeah.
take my word for it. Kayla knows more than me, so listen to Kayla. Okay, this is the 9,000 year prologue.
Oh my.
The flotillas of the dead sailed around the world on underwater rivers. Very nearly nobody knew about them, but the theory is easy to understand. It runs. The sea is, after all, in many respects, only a wetter form of air, and it is known that air is heavier the lower you go and lighter the higher you fly. as a storm-tossed ship founders and sinks. Therefore, it must reach a depth where the water below is just viscous enough to stop its fall. In short, it stops sinking and ends up floating on an underwater surface beyond the reach of the storms but far above the ocean floor. It's calm there, dead calm. Some stricken ships have rigging, some even have sails. Many still have crew, tangled in the rigging or lashed to the wheel.
Wow.
That's a Pratchett opening.
That is brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah, that is.
I was just flipping through my Pratchett books to find one to read with you today, and I came across that and I was like, okay. All right, Pratchett.
Yeah, that's very different than the Pratchett books I've read so far. Wow. And
Yeah,
I've heard that's a really good book. So
I
it
have
is
too.
on my list.
And I
Yeah.
think I'm trying to remember, I don't know that this one's a standalone. I mean, it is a standalone, but like I think it's in trying to remember what series. Is it in the Industrial Revolution series maybe? I'm not sure. It could be. But this just yeah, I now want to drop everything and read that.
Yeah. Wow, that's really good. Yeah. I like
Yeah.
it.
I love authors that can pull you into an atmosphere immediately. Like that's really hard to do.
It is.
Speaking of the Merediths, Andrew says, stopping by to say hi, game day with my boy. Have a great time, you guys. That's
Good to
awesome.
see you, Andrew. Glad you made it.
Yes, Sylvia. I mean, you've already read Pratchett. Read more Pratchett. All right, Chaz, you're up.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to on this one, I'm not going to tell you what it is until I've read it.
Okay, love it.
Just because so, and if it's okay, I'm going to read the opening paragraph from like a précis that comes before the first chapter,
Okay.
and then I'll read the first sentence of the first chapter, if that's cool.
Perfect.
All right. So it says, "Ask me not if God exists, but why he's such a prick. Even the greatest of fools can't deny the existence of evil. We dwell in its shadow every day. The best of us rise above it. The worst of us swallow it whole. But we all of us wade hip deep through it every moment of our lives. Curses and blessings fall on the cruel and just alike. For every prayer heeded, 10,000 go unanswered, and saints suffer along the sinners, pray for monsters spat straight from the belly of hell." And so that's the opening précis, and then the first chapter starts off like this: "It was the 27th year of Day's death in the realm of the Forever King, and his murderer was waiting to die."
Ooh.
And that is Empire of the Vampire.
I laughed because I knew immediately when you read the first line what book it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I can't tell. I have loved this series so much, and talk about covers too. This is the Illumicrate cover. Oh, such great covers. And I read Empire of the Damned as well, and I'm just on pins and needles waiting for the final book.
Yeah.
It is so good, and it's not your typical vampire novel either. It's definitely an epic fantasy that happens to have vampires. It's
right.
Yeah.
Which if you're going to write vampires, what better way? Yeah.
Right. Hey, have you read it, Tori? Have you read it?
I've read the first page.
Yeah.
But I have not. Yeah.
I love this series. It's yeah. Christoph is controversial, I know, but this series I have just loved. It's my
know a
first
lot of people that
introduction to
really
him.
love it. Yeah. I haven't read anything by him yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a solid. I love the first first lines are such a, when you find a really good one that just the minute you open that page, you're like, I'm in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Same here.
Let's see. I have. Okay, I have a line that I'm going to read from the next one because we were talking about the power of an opening line. And this is the shortest prologue I have ever read. And I also am not going to say what book it's from until I finish.
Okay.
But if anybody's read it, they'll recognize the character name right away. Itami Cho woke to the screams of her own death. She remembered it all.
That's Rob J. Hayes, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yep. Never Die?
Never Die. Yep. That is the prologue. That's the entire prologue. Right
I have not read the book, but it's definitely on my list. And he says so much in that one sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
She's a character that I would immediately put on. If I do my top female characters in all of fantasy, Itami Cho would be in the top 5 for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's amazing. Because often, I mean, she's basically a samurai, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's a little bit of the Axis of a Motley Crew, which is really cool. I mean, amazing character work in the book in general, but yeah. Yeah, Daniel says back from Empire of the Vampire, the rain falls on the righteous and the unrighteous alike.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a read through of the trilogy when book 3 comes out. Loved Empire of the Vampire when I read it in 2022.
Awesome.
Casey says Empire of the Vampire. Maybe. I don't know. It's possible. I'm trying to decide if Kristoff is going to be too edgelord for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm okay with irreverence.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know.
He's definitely got a very strong cynicism in the book. But I don't know how much of an edgelord I would say. Well, I guess there are
maybe from some of his earlier work. That's more.
Yeah. I think from what I've heard people say, and it's just from what people say because I haven't read his other books, but from what I've heard people say, this is his most mature writing yet in terms of maturity as a writer. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's probably my preconceived idea from his older work that I'm more familiar with before this came out. Haven't read any of that either, but I'm more familiar with the discourse around it.
Yeah. So am I a little bit. Yeah.
Jenny says, I have way too many open series, but it's in the top 10 for when I'm allowed to start new ones.
I love it. That's great. Yeah.
Yep. We have to ban ourselves from starting new ones.
Right. I'm not allowed.
I can't. Daniel says, I like Jay Kristoff a lot myself. I've always found that his detractors are not getting what he's doing on the level of these Three Stooges fellows are so shockingly violent.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes, I remember Sylvia also read and I think enjoyed Empire of the Vampire, but melodramatic. I think a lot of the best fantasy books that push the boundaries are a little bit melodramatic in some area.
Yeah, I think
most of them.
That's a good assessment. Yeah.
Somehow those things work too well. Yeah, like knowing, I think like with anything, melodrama is something that as a writer you have to know. It's like salt, right? It's like a lot of things in writing are like salt. You just want to keep a balance, where melodrama is one of those things where if you know how to push the boundary without stepping over the line, it can work really well. Nice. Oh, if I'd have kept reading, I would have known that Sylvia loved it for sure. Love the first 2 books. I'm not listening. Sorry, Sylvia. All right. Did you have another one?
I do, yeah, and I think I kind of like this that we're keeping the suspense of what the book is until we've actually read the line. Yeah, I think that's good. So this one is a paragraph again, and names may be lost or forgotten. No one knew that better than Laszlo Strange. He'd had another name first, but it had died like a song with no one left to sing it. Maybe it had been an old family name burnished by generations of use. Maybe it had been given to him by someone who loved him. He liked to think so, but he had no idea. All he had were Laszlo and Strange. Strange because that was the surname given to all foundlings in the kingdom of Zosma, and Laszlo after a monk's tongueless uncle.
Laszlo's a very unique name.
Mm-hmm. And that would be Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor.
Mm.
I absolutely, and it's a duology.
Yeah,
Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. I absolutely love both books. Incredible story. I highly recommend it. And those covers are pretty
yeah,
smashing
they
too.
are.
Like, yeah.
They're really beautiful.
So,
I read years and years ago, I read her Dream Dark
oh, okay.
stories. She has like a fairy, I can't remember if it's a trilogy. Is it Dream Dark? What is it called? Something like that.
Is it Daughter of Smoke and Bone?
I
Okay.
think there was older than that actually. Like this
Okay.
was a while ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, is it Dream Dark? I feel like it's Dream Dark. That
Mm,
sounds right. So I have never read any other Laini Taylor, but I have heard that one intrigues me. I would like to try that one.
yeah. It's a great series. It's one of my favorites. I just love it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. So whimsical and fanciful and yeah. Hi
Yeah.
Laura. Good to see you.
Laura. Yeah, Sylvia says The Strange the Dreamer is so beautifully written. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. My last one is a bit of a chunker, so hold on. And this one isn't going to be hard to guess as soon as I start reading it. This is the prologue, first paragraph.
Okay.
The gale tore at him, and he felt its bite deep within, and he knew that if they did not make landfall in 3 days, they would all be dead. Too many deaths on this voyage, he thought. I'm pilot major of a dead fleet. 1 ship left out of 5, 28 men from a crew of 107, and now only 10 can walk, and the rest near death, and our captain general one of them. No food, almost no water, and what there is, brackish and foul. His name was John Blackthorne, and he was alone on deck, but for the bowsprit lookout, Salomon the Mute, who huddled in the lee, searching the sea ahead.
I love this book. Yeah. So I read this. I read this in January, and I will be hard pressed to find another book of the year
Yep.
before this year is out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This
Shogun is amazing.
This is the thing that, like, I'm so glad that they made the TV series and that everybody was loving it and obsessed with the story. And I keep telling people, I know it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of the few books. Usually books this big don't deserve their page count, if we're being completely honest. Yeah. Right? It takes a lot to earn every single page of a 1,300 page novel. And James Clavell did it minus chapter 40, which is always my caveat. But this book is I was so surprised at how deeply I loved it.
I was too.
It's this, guys, seriously, I know it's a commitment, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am not. I'm learning to like certain historical fictions.
Yeah.
But I've never been a big historical fiction fan, and I've always been really just daunted by Shogun. Yeah. But everybody talks so highly about it, and I love nautical stories. Yep. I love Japanese culture. Everything that was part of this story, I knew I loved. So I'm like, I'm gonna try it, and I absolutely loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. I am really excited to read Taipan I have, and then I also have King Rat, which is based more on his POW experience.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard about that a little. Yeah.
Totally agree with this one, Laura. Augustus by John Williams.
Oh, I've been seeing stuff about that too. Yeah.
That was my book of the year when I read it.
Yeah, that's by
John Williams.
John Williams, yeah. I've also heard Stoner is good.
I have too. I'm gonna hopefully read that one this year. Yeah, somewhere Alan is cheering. I read it with Alan and Alex
Yeah.
and a couple other people a couple years ago and just had a fantastic time.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a just atmospheric opening too.
Mm,
The book is so good. It's so good, you guys.
it is.
Um,
Yeah.
the characters, again, another one of my favorite. Like, there's so many good characters in here, and they're so layered. Some phenomenal, like, you know how in real life there's very few people that are just straight villain,
Yeah.
right? This book exemplifies that to such a degree where everyone has so many layers and is the hero of their own story.
Mm-hmm.
Mariko is it Marco? Yeah, it's Marco. I think. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
Mariko?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
she's my favorite character in the book.
Oh, I
She's
love Mariko. Yeah, she's
incredible.
such an amazing character. Yeah.
She's
John
so good.
Blackthorne is too.
Oh yeah.
He's one of those characters you love to hate
And I think
at times.
I think it's a smart call for Clavel to approach this kind of a historical fiction novel through Blackthorne, because
Mhm.
as somebody who obviously did not grow up in feudal Japan culture,
Right.
Blackthorne kind of gives us, as the reader, a chance to like stumble into it with him where we don't
Mhm.
know what he doesn't know.
Mhm.
And I think that that was a really smart way to approach the story.
It
Um,
was.
yeah, it's
And funny enough, it's a good way to learn a little bit of Japanese because
mhm,
it's immersive in such a way that you're kind of immersed into the language too, which
mhm.
everybody says immersion is the best way to learn a
Yeah,
language. And I took Japanese in high school.
nice.
And I didn't remember much about it until I read Shogun, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd learned a tiny bit of it in high school as well, and yeah, the book was like, "Oh yeah, I remember, like, all these
Yeah.
terms and words," and but I feel like too, for somebody that maybe doesn't have the language background at all, it's
Yeah.
also not overpowering.
It's not. You're
It's
right.
just kind of there, and you do really get used to it after the first
Mhm.
few chapters where it's used. You're just like, "Oh yeah, that means whatever," and, you know?
Yeah, he's good about translating it for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel says, read it when he was 17. Wow, that's an ambitious read at 17. Now 43. Didn't recognize that. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that's
It's been a
great.
while.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, and I know I almost feel bad every time I hold up this edition of it.
I know it's such a
Um,
beautiful
it's so
addition.
beautiful. I had
But
bought this, like, before we read it, I went on eBay and it was 20 bucks. And I was like, "Wow, that's really pretty." And I bought it and I loved the book, so I was really glad I got it. But I
mhm,
had no idea it was gonna go out of print.
right?
That's crazy.
But I will say for people who are wanting to get a really nice edition,
Yeah, broken
the
binding.
broken binding, let's see.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and let's see. Oh crap, did I do it again? I missed the deadline. It was in April.
I think you can sign up for a, interest form. They might still have
Yeah,
one.
the interest form, you have to use the interest form password by the 27th of April.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. So I missed out because I was going to get that one,
Yeah.
but yeah, but yeah, the black edition is beautiful, and who knows, maybe you'll find it in a used bookstore or something too.
Yeah, you
So
never know. I
but
mean,
yeah,
before they reprinted, Sun Eater, I found a bunch of the hardcovers in a half price books for 12 bucks each,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Yes, thanks."
Right,
So
yeah,
you definitely
great
can
find.
find some good stuff, and even if you keep an eye on, like, eBay and Pango
Mm-hmm.
Books and stuff, um, sometimes they have stuff that pops up. That's where I got some of my Malazan, trade paperbacks
Mm-hmm.
where it was on there, so you never know.
That's cool.
Yeah. Hi, Derry.
Derry, glad to see you. Derry's such an awesome person.
She is. She's lovely.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
a big
Oh,
Dresden fan too.
yeah, she is. And Derry, I'm halfway through the Rainwild Chronicles, and I'm loving it. So just so you know, we will have to talk once I'm done.
Yes.
She
I'm
and I
gonna
talk every now and again as I'm going through the realm of the Olderlings, and
Oh, I'm sure.
it's a fantastic series. Oh my
It
gosh.
is. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start, Tawny Man this year,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Casey is starting
Honeymoon's amazing.
Shogun. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
As you probably know, had a not great experience with Live Ship, so I skipped
Yeah.
over that one.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to get back to Fitz and the Fool, and I think because I liked them a lot in the
Mhm.
first trilogy, so I'm not worried about whether or not I'm gonna click with the second series.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to start Shogun, Casey. And the nice thing, guys, too, about Shogun, and this is how we did it when we read the book a couple years ago, is if you see the top, this is like part 1 and 2. This is part 3 and 4 question mark, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's split into parts. So the nice part about it is you can do like a part a month or
Mm-hmm.
split it up pretty easily. So it's not as hard to read as it looks.
Agreed. Yeah, I read one half and then the other half the
Mm-hmm.
next month, I think it was. Yeah.
That's a smart way to do it. Here's a good short starting line as a bonus. It's amazing how long it can take someone to die. Oof.
Oh.
It's a hard-hitting one. Bye,
So
Sylvia. Thanks for joining us.
yeah, glad to meet you. Thanks. I do have one more opening
Go for
line,
it.
and that I guess that'll be my final one. And again, I'll just read it first, and then
Okay.
we can talk about what it is. But let's see here. You gotta find this. This one's hard to find the. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read two different lines that really struck me from this book. So the first one is, and it's titled "Anticipation," and people will probably know what it is right from the first line.
Okay.
The circus arrives without warning. No announcements precede it, no paper notices on downtown posts and billboards, no mentions or advertisements in local newspapers. It is simply there, when yesterday it was not. And then the other line I wanted to read is, the man billed as Prospero the Enchanter receives a fair amount of correspondence via the theater office, but this is the first envelope addressed to him that contains a suicide note, and it is also the first to arrive carefully pinned to the coat of a 5-year-old girl. And that is The Night Circus by
Oh, yes. I haven't read that in so long. That's a good book.
This is my second favorite book of all time.
Really?
And you talked about you talked with me earlier. I can't remember if it was before we started or whatever, but we talked about having to be careful not to spend a lot of money on on special editions of books.
Yeah.
This was not cheap,
I
but
bet.
it was worth every single penny.
What version is that?
This is the Bodman and Royal Press edition, and it is just chock full of beautiful colored illustrations, stuff like that.
Wow.
And it has a nice red ribbon, and it has a slip case
cover.
as well.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's just I'm so happy with this, and it was worth every penny I spent. Not
That's
cheap,
the thing.
but
Yeah,
worth
but that's
it.
the thing. If it's a book that, you really, really love,
Mm-hmm.
I'll like the minute the new Red Rising edition came out, the new hardcover slipcase one that they just put up, I think it's on
Mm-hmm.
Amazon and a couple other places. I didn't even look. I was like, add it to cart.
Yeah.
That one wasn't as expensive, but it was still just the principle of like, nope, I want it.
And I liked I liked the presentation of this one so
Yeah.
much that I got the Starless Sea from them as well when it was
nice.
announced. And they are a very, very, very specialty press. They published, they create maybe 2 books a year, I think.
Wow.
And it's under very select circumstances, and it's they're in the UK. It's worth every penny. Maybe it wouldn't be now with the tariff situation or
Right.
whatever, but oh man, I
Worth
just
it.
yeah, it's my second favorite book of all time, and I had to have it as soon as I saw it. I'm like, I can't not get this book.
I want to reread. I want to reread that because it's been probably, oh gosh, it's been a long time since I read that, but I remember really liking it. I bounced off of Starless Sea. I didn't like that one,
Okay, fair.
which really made me sad after Night Circus because I loved Night Circus so much.
Yeah,
But I think it was because, again, Starless Sea is a little bit more meta.
yeah,
And that's just not my scene usually. So, yeah.
right.
But yeah, Night Circus I remember being really good.
Yeah,
I agree,
yeah.
Casey.
Oh, thank you.
You
I
do.
appreciate that. I
Uh, Mona Lisa says, I've told him that and that I agree. I think you have a great narrating voice.
Thank you very much. I am actually planning to start narrating Talendor's Guest this year.
Nice. Good for you.
And
That's
then
awesome.
eventually I'll get around to the Nomad's Crucible, but my goal is to narrate those myself. Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I think you've got a great voice for it.
I
I was going to say,
appreciate
you can just keep reading. I'll just sit here.
that. Thank you.
Derry wants to know the second favorite. I missed what is the favorite book of all time?
Oh, yeah, this one is very hard for me because it
Mm,
involves someone who is not, it turns out, the greatest person.
yeah.
But The Ocean at the End of the Lane
Mhm.
is my favorite, uh, currently anyway, my favorite book of all time.
It's a beautiful book.
It is a beautiful book. It's a beautiful story, but lately, every time I look at it, I get angry.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that is my favorite book of all time, and I think it speaks to me on such a deep level because it feels like my childhood. It's not really
Mm,
necessarily exactly like my childhood, but it feels very similarly to the atmosphere and the imagination and the
yeah.
experiences that I had as a child.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it speaks to me so much. Not that the story's not great, it is,
Yeah.
but oof, yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard right now.
That's
I
fair.
still own it. Shortly before all the news came out, I had acquired a very nice special edition of it,
Mm,
and I'm not getting rid of it.
yeah.
That's not going to happen. But I don't promote it on my channel right now. I'm
Yep.
not talking about the books on my channel because, uh, yeah, I I'm just very angry at his treatment of women
Yeah.
in his life, and the things that he's done, or I know allegedly done
Right. Right.
technically,
Right.
but you know yeah, so that's been hard. But great question, Derry. I'm glad. I wasn't going to mention it, but I'm glad that you brought it up, and I'm glad I feel like it's probably okay to mention it on the stream.
Absolutely.
So yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, like we talked about a little bit before, I think it's important to validate not only, the alleged the victims in this case and the
hmm,
horrific treatment that has come to light, but also it's, I think, important to honor the readers who love the stories like you guys and what the stories, like the stories come from an author, yes, but I think when they come to mean something so closely to a reader,
yeah,
they also belong to the readers, you know what I mean?
hmm,
So I think that's completely valid, and I think it's completely okay to talk about that and how we feel about it. So thank you for
yeah,
sharing.
yeah, absolutely. The experience of the victims is very important to me,
Yes,
and it's tough,
it's tough all the way
really
around.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, I totally understand. My husband is a big fan of that of Ocean at the End of the Lane too.
Yeah.
And yeah, we went through kind of something similar where I was like, you know, as a parent, I don't like handing this to my son to read now, you know, feels different, and I don't want to do that. And you know, it's like all of a sudden there's all of these things, complicated feelings to work through, and I think at the end of the day, everybody's got to do what's right for them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Casey agrees that you should narrate your audiobook. You're getting a
Thank
lot of
you.
fans in the comments.
Apparently that's great. I'm really happy to hear that. Thank you.
You'll have to start a story time with Chaz on your channel where you just read to us for a while.
Oh, wow. You know, that could be a thing. If there's interest on that, I wouldn't be opposed.
Hey, how's it going? Good dragon voice. That's true. Yeah, I can see that. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I have in the past I had narrated the first chapter and I deleted it because I want to redo it, but I felt very happy with how I did the dragon voice.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I'm assuming that Mona Lisa Reads has heard the dragon voice then.
She might have, yes. I
Okay.
can't remember if I sent it to her or not. But yeah, she might have. Yeah.
Audie says valid feelings all around, even the conflicting ones. Yep, totally agree. I agree with this, but I think it really depends on each person. Like each person is going to have a different threshold for that, and each person's going to have different like how they want to move forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think part of it and I think part of it comes from becoming fans of the public persona of someone as well. And for me, like I've always said up to this point that he was my favorite author, not only because he was a brilliant writer, but also because he was just a wonderful and kind human being. And I can't say that anymore.
Right.
And that hurts.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, you know, I feel cheated in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I get the removing author from the creation too. I totally understand. And that's why I won't get rid of the book at all. And I will probably at some point in the future, I might reread it, but it's going to take me time because of how angry I am right now.
Well, I think it's a grieving process, you
Sure,
know?
yeah.
So, you know, taking your time and not pushing yourself through that, I think is important to take time to process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I totally agree. Jenny says, started Night Circus. Enjoying it so far. Awesome. If Lovecraft can still be a pillar of fantasy, Marion Zimmer Bradley still be in print. Yeah, to some degree, yeah, I totally agree. Because that's the thing is, like, I do not believe in death of the author as a concept at all. I as an author, it bothers me when people try to remove the author completely. However, I do think that, you know, I'm aware of the fact that as soon as my book leaves me and is now published, and now it is the readers also have a big stake in this, right? The people that read and love my books, their experience belongs to them.
Right.
Like that's whatever experience they have with my books is theirs. And I'm not, that's why I don't go into my reviews. I don't respond to reviews or anything, because that is their experience. And it's different than mine because I'm the author. So obviously I'm going to have a different relationship with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a kind of a complicated mess with a situation like this.
Yeah, it is. But you're right. Once a story leaves the press and is in the public, it does kind of take on a life of its own.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
you're not wrong.
An example of that, I think, for me is I grew up watching the Rurouni Kenshin anime.
Okay.
And that was a hugely influential story. It's the Wandering Samurai. Kenshin is like one of the most influential characters to me as a writer. He's based on a historical figure, and the mangaka or author of the manga is just like, I don't even have words for how disgusting of a human being he is. And that's tough because I've had to wrestle with that too, because how much do I talk about it? How much do I, and that's one of those things where I've had to learn to honor my experience with the characters and the story, because it meant something very outside the author to me, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but it takes time to work through it. So Shelf Esteem says, that's so tough having an author you love. Yeah, that is tough. I know I've had that happen. Musicians, yep, hard to reconcile.
Yeah.
Back to the dragon voice. Haven't heard it, but the deep voice. Yeah, I can see that. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember if I'd sent you a clip of it or not, but yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you to get those audiobooks out. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited about it too. And I've kind of thought along the lines of just making it as an MP3 file on my website for like 99 cents or something. But I don't know. I'm still figuring that piece of it out. But I don't ever want to be the cause of somebody spending too much money for an audiobook, because they're not. I mean, even though Audible has kind of gotten better, they're not great to self-published authors, and they're really overpriced, making, having a paywall at the beginning and then you still have to buy the, it's a whole thing. So I'm trying to avoid that, but we'll see what I end up doing.
Yeah. Well, is there anything that you have coming up in the near future that you're really excited about, either reads or stuff on your channel, that you want everybody to know about?
Well, yeah, good question. I do have my review for Starter Villain by John Scalzi coming out next week. That'll be out next Friday. Next Tuesday. I don't know how many people are going to be interested in this necessarily, but if you're into comic books, I am doing a video about my top 8 comic book villains. So
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I've got that coming out on Tuesday, and it's specifically for the MCU and DC Comics, or Marvel Comics and DC Comics. I'm not going outside those boundaries, so it'll be Marvel and DC specific. But
yeah, nice.
But yeah, I'm excited about that. So, and I've got a few. I try to plan out a month in advance on my videos, just because that way I'm never struggling at the last minute. Okay, what am I going to make a video about now? But also,
that's me.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm that way too. Sometimes I'll get to the end of the month and I haven't made my plans yet, and I'm like, okay, what should I do now?
Yeah.
But I try to make it where I've got some stuff that I can plan on. I'm planning on probably doing a video on palette cleansing books.
Nice.
Favorite book endings, things like that. So I've got a few things coming up that I think people will like. And even though I like doing book reviews, they can be challenging at times.
Yeah.
My favorite videos probably to make are the topical videos, but I enjoy doing book reviews as well. So
yeah. I find that book reviews for me are easier when I have strong opinions about it one way or the other.
Yeah, that is true.
And I don't know for you, but I would say I've found that I do, because I read so many books, the ones that really stand out on either end are, like, I have a lot of books in the middle that I liked, and really enjoyed, or that I wasn't super strong on, but it's hard to come up with an entire dedicated review for a video for a book that's somewhere in the middle.
Very true.
Yeah. So that's why Princess Bride was so much fun, because I had very strong opinions about it.
Yeah, definitely. And it was a great review video. It's one of the best I've seen for Princess Bride. So
thank you. Thank you. I feel like there's so much more I could have covered.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's one of the things, you're never going to be able to hit every possible point.
Indeed. That's so true.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, and for everybody in the chat, if you haven't already, anybody watching the replay, please go down in the description box below. There's a link to Chaz's channel. Go click like and subscribe and check out some of his videos. Keep an eye out for the ones coming up next week. I'm excited about the comic book villains. I don't know that much about comics.
Ooh, nice.
So I'm looking for some recommendations, probably more than anything else, because I do love a solid villain. And Derry's got a great anecdote to send us out with. Here's a metaphor that works for me. A book is an author's child. It comes from them. Things the parent does doesn't have to change your feelings about them. That's a good one, Derry.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's really good.
That's a really good one, Derry.
That is really good. Thank you, Derry. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us in the chat. Thanks for showing up and spending part of your Saturday with us. I hope you are all having some good reads going into May. I hope everybody's excited about their either pile of possibilities or TBRs. And Chaz, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Thank you so much, Tori. I've really had a blast. And thank you, everybody, for watching as well. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the comments.
Yeah, I did too. You guys are awesome. Best audience. BookTube has an amazing audience. I love you guys.
We do. We really do.
All right. We'll see you guys in the next video.